Okay, students, we are going to do page 11 in your lab books, and it is this one that says two types of cells. And now that we know all of the different organelles that are inside the cell, I wanted to talk about the actual two categories of cells. There's actually two types of cells. We have been learning about eukaryotic cells in class. And we've learned all the organelles of eukaryotic cells. We've learned about plant cells versus animal cells, and we've learned all about it. But there actually is another kind of cell that we have not talked about, and that is prokaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells are actually what bacteria are. Bacteria are a little bit different structurally. They're a little bit more simple. And I wanted you to at least have heard of these words, so when you go to biology, it makes sense. So there's really two kinds of cells, eukaryotes and prokaryotes. And the reason why they are different is because eukaryotic cells have a nucleus, meaning they have that membrane around their DNA. Prokaryotes have no nucleus. So when you write that down, you may want to make kind of a circle with a line through it to remind yourself. Prokaryotes actually have no nucleus. Their DNA just free floats inside their cell. I don't know if you can see your picture right here, but your DNA just kind of free floats inside the cytoplasm. Okay, so eukaryotic cells have these organelles. Eukaryotes, you already know these. They have ribosomes, they have DNA, they have cell membranes, they have endoplasmic reticulum, they have Golgis, they have lysosomes, mitochondria, and vacuoles. Sorry, you have to kind of cram your words in these little boxes. So we know about eukaryotes. That's the ones we've been studying. Prokaryotes are way simpler. They do not have any organelles that have membranes around them. So no mitochondria, no endoplasmic reticulum, none of those. All prokaryotes have are ribosomes to make proteins, their DNA, the instructions to make the proteins. They have a cell membrane and a cell wall, and of course cytoplasm. That's pretty much it. They're really, really simple. And bacteria are the only ones that are prokaryotic. Okay, they're the only ones that are prokaryotic. Eukaryotes, on the other hand, that's the ones we've been studying. They have all these organelles, and eukaryotes are plants, fungus, animals, and protists. Okay, protists are the ones that you don't really know much about, but these are things like amoebas. Okay, maybe that's probably the most familiar to you. Giardia, if you've ever heard of somebody getting sick by Giardia, that's also a protist. These are kind of a catch-all thing. They're typically unicellular. They only have one cell. Unicellular, one cell. Bacteria are also unicellular. All the rest of these are multicellular, as we've been talking about. Now, plants and fungi both have a special organelle that animals and protists don't have. They have cell walls. Okay, they have cell walls. And that's because, obviously, we talked about they need extra protection and extra structure to hold them up. Okay, animals and protists. Protists don't need them because they're unicellular. Animals don't need them because they build bones and those kind of things typically, or exoskeletons, that kind of thing. So cell walls are just found in plants and fungi. And of course, we already remember in bacteria. Plants, though, are super special. Plants have this very unique organelle right here. Plants have chloroplasts. Okay, and that's so important because that's turning sunlight into food. And then the mitochondria turns that food into energy. But it turns sunlight into food so that we can have food and it can turn it into biology. All right, so in biology, we have what we call the 5 kingdoms of life. And maybe you've heard it before, but we classify life based on their likenesses. So like we have reptile family, right? The reptile family, or the mammal family. You learned about those in elementary school, I'm sure. But above that, we have kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. So we have all kinds of different ways to classify living things. But the biggest one is kingdoms. There's 5 kingdoms in biology. Okay, 5 kingdoms. And they are plant kingdom, fungi kingdom, animal kingdom, protist kingdom, and bacteria kingdom. Okay, so I want you to write kingdoms right here, color the 5 kingdoms of biology, and I want you to shade or color in the 5 kingdoms of biology. Okay, and that will complete page 11, and make sure you're prepared for the test. So I will also post a picture of this. Thanks, guys.